to make a deep run in the playoffs? You know what? Before the season, Skip, I picked the Phoenix Suns to get to the finals. Because when you told me Bill, Booker, and Kevin Durant were going to be on the same team, I was like, this is going to be an offensive juggernaut.
Your running mate also picked him over there, right?
Yeah, but I didn't. But I'm just not seeing.
Reason. I saw Bill. I was like, okay.
Oh, okay. That's another piece that gives them room for error. Because if KD doesn't play well or Booker doesn't play well, you got Bill. But what I've seen from them, it hasn't really given me a lot of confidence. Yeah, they went into Denver a week ago and beat them.
They did.
Yeah, they just beat New Orleans, which gives me a little more confidence, but I just haven't seen the consistency throughout the season. But for them, they play well when they all three been together. They're 21-13 when they play together to give them credit. Bill, Booker, and Kevin Durant. It's just that I think they have to get the right matchup. I'm more confident actually in Phoenix over Minnesota in the playoff series and OKC because I feel like those teams don't have a lot of room for error. For OKC, for instance, if Shea doesn't have a good game, who do you depend on? Phoenix, if KD don't play well, you got Booker and Bill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the same with Minnesota. I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns is coming back. So if Anthony Edwards doesn't have a good game, they can lose.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Whereas Phoenix, they can afford, they got room for error, or they have room for one of their stars not to play well. So it's all on the matchups. And if they can avoid Denver, like a lot of these teams at the bottom in the first round, then I give them the shot to get out the first round, but nothing much past that.
You know, looking at Phoenix, I never lost confidence that if they were healthy and all three of them on the floor together an extensive amount of time between now and into the play-in, into the playoffs, that chemistry will just kick in. Because a lot like Paul is saying, you got three dudes that can score. Mm-hmm. So if two are off, one is on, you still got a huge opportunity. Now, all of a sudden, Grayson Allen can get smoking out on you.
He can.
He can. He can get ice cold, too. Mm-hmm. But I have more confidence that those three dudes will figure it out down the stretch. I never was a big... I know all of a sudden the Pelicans won however many in a row and people was going crazy and anointing them. Oh, the Pelicans, they can win it all. They can... Just look at Zion. I told you, if he stays healthy. But I never really looked at it. If you look at, they've been to the playoffs one time in the last 6 years, and they early exit in 2022. So I never really...
They haven't been healthy to their credit either.
No, you can throw the health in there as well, but I just never felt like that this was a team in Phoenix that was going to completely go away. Mm. There's only three teams in the West that I look at and go, okay, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Suns, and the Warriors.
That's four.
I'm four. I'm sorry.
What about the only four teams that can win it?
That I feel can come out of the West.
Yeah.
The rest of the dudes that's in there, get them dudes out of here.
No faith in Minnesota.
None. OKC, no faith in that.
What about
Dallas.
the Clippers? What about the Clippers?
I don't know. I'm on the fence with them because I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'm not worried about James Harden. Skip worries about him. I don't worry about him. I just worry about whether or not they're going to get into this ISO ball and not do exactly what Ty Lue wants them to do. Because even the other night, I saw him on some ISO stuff. I'm like, you got to get off the ball, PG, at some point. Mm-hmm. You know, and he didn't get off of it. Then it came down. They got the ball again like once or twice. And then James Harden was doing the same thing. So I'm like, okay, this is what's going to happen. So I'm not completely gone from them, but I'm not completely sold on them.
Mm. Okay. So, Paul, when you played, I'm sure there was some team, I'm not sure which one, where you just said, I can't wait because there's something about that team or that building that they cannot stop me in. Can you think of somebody?
Oh, yeah, a lot of teams.
Okay. Well, you like
What's a team, man?
Yeah.
The Knicks, Cleveland.
You picking bad team. Well, Cleveland went bad.
No, when I was playing.
I was going to say Cleveland went bad team.
New York Knicks, anywhere in New York, actually. Nets, Brooklyn.
All right, so there's some weird syndromes going on this year in the NBA, especially in the West, where one team just owns the other team for no apparent reason. Devin Booker grew up about an hour-and-a-half drive away from New Orleans. He saw his first game in that building, his first NBA game. He's from Moss Point, Mississippi. He's not from there. His father was there, and so he went to high school in Moss Point. So it's close to home, close to his home folks. They all come in droves to see him, especially when he goes to New Orleans. And there's just something about him against New Orleans because The last 3 games, he's gone 58, 52, and 52 against the Pelicans.
cooking.
In home.
Yeah, no,
in
not
New Orleans.
no. There's one at Phoenix.
Oh, one
the
at Phoenix,
58
okay.
was at Phoenix. There's just something about him versus New Orleans, and it's almost like what we just talked about, Caitlin Clark, the
I
New
felt
Orleans
that
coaching
when I played
staff.
the Lakers, though, too.
Did you?
Nobody don't care
I did,
about
man.
the man is talking, man. I
I'm
don't want to
saying,
hear
I
all
did feel
that.
that. Go look at my first 10
Man,
games
I
versus
don't
the
want to
Lakers.
hear all that.
Okay.
My first 4 or 5 years versus the Lakers.
Home and away.
Home and away.
Okay.
We didn't ask you. Gave us
Pull
the
it up.
teams, man.
All right.
I forgot. I had
It
to
took
think
a
about
while. It took a while for you to
You know what
arrive.
I'm
at
saying,
that.
it's the same thing Skip's saying, playing against a team that he grew up watching.
Okay.
But I
so-
knew you was going to say the Lakers.
And by the way, every stat in the NBA, every historical stat has to involve Wilt Chamberlain. So here's another Wilt one, because this is the only time since Wilt Chamberlain that somebody has scored 50 or 50 plus
That's the
3
same
straight
thing, 3
games
straight
against the same opponent. Wilt did it numerous times he scored 50 on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I look at last night as another aberration, because it's like rock, paper, scissors. You know, you have the edge over somebody because it's rock versus paper. Paper beats rock.
Mm-hmm.
But look, the Lakers just cannot beat Sacramento, and I don't get it. But they just can't. They get owned and annihilated every time they play Sacramento. Dallas owns and annihilates Sacramento every time they play them. I don't know, you talk about matchups and you can sort of break it down strategically, but somehow when Devin Booker walks into that building, the home team is in big trouble. And that's another one where I'm saying, I know that's Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. I think I'm going to make them beat us. You know, because last night, if I take away he made 8 of 16 threes, so it's sort of like Caitlin Clark impact, where if I take those away, they were 10 of 31, all the rest of them from 3. Well, that's under 30%. So what are we saying? You know, like make the others beat us, because Kevin didn't have a big game last night.
You know, Kevin didn't need to have a big game because his running mate was having a big game. So now all of a sudden you switch off on him, Paul, and you decide to say, okay, I'm gonna take Booker out the game.
Yeah.
Now you got 2 other weapons. I'm gonna take Bradley Beal out the game. Now you got to deal with Kevin Durant. And if Kevin Durant is getting his touches,
I know.
And not allowing Booker to get his touches, and he's getting his touches, he gonna all of a sudden find the stroke, I'm sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
They got more room for error. That's what I'm saying. You look, Kevin Durant doesn't have a good game. Bradley Beal, I mean, across the board, that's not a Bradley Beal game. All you have to do is have one player be great for Phoenix. And they got 3 guys that can do that. But they don't have a bench either. When I look up these guys in the playoffs, these are the minutes they're going to be playing. This is like what you saw last night, 40, 40. And they're going to have to maintain that. So if they get into a 7-game series, they can get tired.
Yeah, I mean,
So they're going to have to finish off teams in 5 or 6 games.
Eric Gordon's going to play 20 minutes, but last night he was 1 of 7, 1 of 6 from 3.
Me personally, I think Bradley Beal game last night was what it was supposed to be. It's not a tank. He only scored 13 points, but if you look at his efficiency, right, very efficient. I mean, he had 6 assists. Okay, he rebounded the ball with 9 rebounds.
Yeah.
He was 5 of 8 from the field. He was 3 of 4 from 3. I'm good with that. If my dude is hitting 52, I'm solid. I'm taking that all day long.
Nurkic gave you 19 and 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's solid.
That's solid.
You can take that from your role player.
Your 52 dude is also supposed to be the point guard. And to his credit, he did have 9 assists last night. So he had 52 and 9. So I tip cap to him. But can he do that every night? Because there's some identity crisis going on here, because they don't have a pure, true point guard. And I still say they miss Chris Paul. I like them better, even Chris on his last legs. Last year, I thought they were a better team, a basketball team with Chris running the point than they are this way.
Other basketball players that I talked to said that with Chris, it was just a slower pace for those guys. They needed to speed things up to be able to play the way they needed to play.
Okay, are they speeding things up now with Booker?
I don't know. You got to ask Paul, man. I don't know.
They're not running.
Yeah,
I feel like it's the same pace. I don't think they're as efficient. I mean, you got 3 scorers, like, they play point guard by committee.
They do.
You know, so like you say, Devin Booker is their probably best playmaker, but Bill brings it up.
But it's
Kevin Durant
initiates the offense.
And so in saying that, I think you need Booker. For Booker to be successful, he has to be Booker. And what I mean by that, Booker, I need him to be just a relentless scorer.
Yep.
I don't need him worried about getting other guys involved and doing all these other things. Now, if Bradley Beal can morph into that at this stage of his career, dealing with so many injuries, to say, hey,